Hi, hello everyone. As I announced the last two Sundays, tonight we are going to do our armchair travel with the church families. Well, that happened exactly 10 years ago. So we traveled from September 2011 until 12th of October 2011. So it took about 22 days, and when our children were young, 10 years younger than now, and we really had a good time, but it's a really demanding travel. So for 22 days, we traveled to Korea, America, Canada, and then back to Korea, and then came back home. And especially tonight, it is really good to have Stephen with us. We haven't seen him for about almost 4 months, but now he is here with us tonight. So good to have you, Stephen. And for this slide, our prominent graphic designer, Rachel Lee, she did this. So thank you, Rachel. And she did a really good job too. So for 22 days, we traveled almost 43,000 kilometers. So yeah, we traveled long distance, and we met a lot of people, and we had a great love and support from our families and friends and some others. So at that time we were at East Kilara, and from the men's balcony we had these cockatoos who were blessing us have a safe and joyful trip. And actually to plan this trip I spent more than 2 months. I had contact with all those people, families and friends, and book the residence and rent car and all those things by myself. So actually that's the hardest part for this trip. But in the end, I organized everything and we were able to depart. But the organization was really hard, especially because there were 6 of us. And then we had to carry all those musical instruments. So every time, when we arrived, then there must be 2 cars to pick us up. And to go to the airport, there must be 2 cars too. Unless that's 10-seater van or 12-seater vans. So I put it in my study there. And this is what I opened it. So we had to put them all in the hard case, and there were a number of, so we carried cello. I think that's the 3/4?
I think it was half size.
Half size, yeah. And guitar, and violin, trumpet, clarinet, and we had to carry 4 music stands. And all those stands for the instruments. So that makes us, really have to carry all those luggages. So we depart Sydney to Seoul on the first day. So this is we're at the Sydney airport. Joshua was very much excited, weren't you? Yeah. And then in the airport, they got excited and they had a good time from the beginning. And that's Stephen and Rachel. What was your feeling, Stephen?
Excitement, as you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being a bit overly excited, being a bit silly. Yeah.
And I think they all especially enjoyed the flight because they love to watch that small monitor, and there are all sorts of movies and radio channels, and they enjoy the the meals and drink. So flight was another joyful part for them. Okay, now we arrived at Incheon Airport. What happened there?
We got caught in security, so you can see the yellow padlock on our luggage because of our
Right.
stands, which we didn't realize before we left.
Yeah. So those inspectors, they couldn't figure them out. So they asked us to get some further inspection. And that we didn't know, but it was the stands what made the trouble. Okay, so right after arrived at our sister's place, I went to my old church. I attended there when I was in the university. So that's the church, and that the lady next to Christine, she is the youngest sister of our family. So out of 6, she is the number 6. I'm the number 1. And then we went to one of the nearby entertaining place. So Christine, what was it?
I'm not sure. This character, she was outside one of the restaurants, I guess, and yeah, I just took a photo with her. I remember it felt, I'm not sure what time this was. Maybe it wasn't that late, but because...
Yeah, it was pretty late, about 9 o'clock or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the Japanese icon, I guess. Isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and we had a little bit of, drink, and my sister and her husband. And then next day, so after one night's sleep, we are going to the airport again to fly to Los Angeles. So we had the lunch there. That's a kind of a very popular style, cold noodle. And yeah, so we enjoyed the lunch very much.
Joshua was very excited.
Yeah.
I think I was just jumping up and down.
No, I think you were dancing on the parking lot. Okay, so we fly from Seoul to Los Angeles. That was another long flight, about 9,500 kilometers. But when we arrived, well, because of the time difference, it was earlier than the time when we left Incheon. So we met my oldest church friend, who is living in Los Angeles for many years, and he took us to that big Korean buffet restaurant in Los Angeles. So we enjoyed the lunch too. Then we moved to Hollywood, and on the way, I think it was on the Sunset Boulevard, where there are all sorts of, the movie stars and entertainment stars there. So you can see, who is it? Van Dyke and Bob Hope. And who is it, Stephen?
That's the star of an actor, Neil Patrick Harris, or a comedian.
Oh,
And,
he's a comedian.
And Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole,
Also,
a
yeah.
great singer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see the Hollywood sign, which is on the Mount Hollywood. So we are going to Hollywood, Mount Hollywood, and on the way I found this liquor store. It's kind of an American version convenience store, something like 7-Eleven. But the difference is they carry all sorts of liquor, so from beer to hard liquor, and they sell all sorts of cigarettes and cigars and everything. And that's the special place for me because I worked there for a few months' time when I was in Los Angeles, something like 1987 or 88. And well, actually that's the well, pretty hard time for me as a single person before I met Sangyeon. So it was pretty lonely time. But also I met a number of new friends, and my mother's family, they're living in Los Angeles. So on the way we stopped there, and that was just under the Mount Hollywood. So we went up to Mount Hollywood where this Griffith Observatory is. And on the way up to this Griffith Observatory, there is another very famous concert theater, which is called Greek Theater. And when I arrived in Los Angeles in 1986 for the first time, I think that was August, and just a few days before I arrived, there was Neil Diamond's very famous concert at the Greek Theater, which is called Hot August Night. So I just missed Neil Diamond's concert. Anyway, we went up to Griffith's Observatory, and on there is another statue of James Dean. I think you all know him. He was a very famous movie star, and the statue is there because he took his movie in 1955, which is called Rebel Without a Cause. And actually James Dean was one of my heroes when I was young. So this is one scene from the movie, the knife fight. So we took a photo. What happened there?
You can see at the bottom all of us are holding hands because we used to sort of
Do the bunny ears
and
each
do-
other's head.
Like this?
Yeah.
So we're holding each other's hands down so that we don't get caught with bunny ears because it's a bit embarrassing.
Don't do that. No? Yeah. So we went into this observatory, and there are pretty good, many scientific things in there. So this is on the ceiling, and then this is very nice. What is it?
Solar system?
Solar system model. Yeah. So it's very nice, and there are many good education stuff in the observatory. And on that night, well, when we arrived first at Los Angeles, and we organized to stay at my uncle's place, my mother's brother, older brother. So when we stayed there for 2 nights, and on the first night, we had our first concert, and we had a small family worship.
Gathering?
Yeah, gathering. So we sang some hymns, and I prayed. And one of the hymns we sang was, what is it? It is well. Yeah. So let us play this one here. Okay. my soul. So it was quite a moving moment for us all because we just started our long trip and then we prayed for safe and joyful trip all the way through. And then next day my uncle he bought tickets for Disneyland. Where else but Disneyland in Los Angeles. So we left early in the morning. We got there and we planned to meet my old church friend again, who met day before. So we met his family too. So we took a photo together with this beautiful lady. Who is she?
The Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's Joseph and his wife and his daughter. So we went all those places, as many places as possible. It's Snow White's scary adventure place. And then we took some photos.
Yep. So that's with Winnie the Pooh on the left. You can see, and then Tigger, and so we took photos, the boys and the girls, with both the characters.
All right. Okay, and then that was late September, but already, what is it?
Mickey Mouse.
Halloween. Yeah, Halloween started there already, so lots of pumpkin there. And then there are musicians playing in various places, and we went into a Splash Mountain, and who is that?
Pluto.
Pluto.
Yeah.
Pluto.
And that's right after Splash Mountain, so you can see all of our clothes and hair are a bit wet from the ride with all the water.
Right, then
So it's the Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Sleeping Beauty's castle. Yeah. Okay, and we rode this merry-go-round. Joshua's so much excited.
Yes.
And Mom's excited. And then, what place is it, Steve?
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
So
And that's
Stephen
Mr. Toad right there.
laughed with Mr. Toad. Okay, and then they rode this flying rocket.
Yeah.
And then we went to this big castle.
It's a Small World.
It's a small world. It's a small world. This whole castle is kind of, what is it? A boat riding. Yeah, so there is a flowing water, and we are on the boat.
And you can see the really long line.
Yeah.
I think we were there for a pretty long while.
We had to wait about half an hour, I think.
At least,
Yeah. And in this place, they're full of, all the famous dolls from all over the world. So there are many, many different, those dolls like that. And we still can remember the tune. It's a small world.
It's a small world
After all, it's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. So we keep hearing that, tune over and over again. So those dolls, and this one we found they are Korean dolls. And then some more. And so we coming out. And then because that was the Friday, I remember, and every Friday there is a special parade in the Disneyland. So we were very lucky to be able to watch this parade. So it went on about what, 1 hour or something. Yeah.
And they show different characters from Disney. So here you can see Aladdin on the top, and then
Okay.
Jasmine and the different princesses on the bottom.
All right. Yeah. So dancing princesses. And who is this?
Genie. Genie.
Genie. Yeah. Look at that funny shoes. And then
Snow White.
White. Then
Peter
Pan
Pan.
and
Tinkerbell, Captain Hook.
Captain Hook. Then Mary Poppins. These are the
Chimney Sweeps.
chimney sweeps. Yeah.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. And then there is a train circling around whole park. So we rode and we wanted to look at the whole place. So we are on the right. And then Joshua got the driver's license there.
So they have the option where you can sort of move the steering wheel, and so I think as a 9-year-old I was so good that I got my driver's license.
Okay. Oh, well, best driver. Yeah. Okay, then we had a good time. We slept at my uncle's place again, and the next day we left the Los Angeles airport, and we took a domestic flight to Atlanta, Georgia. I think that took about 4 hours or something. Yeah. But because of the time difference, we left before noon, and we arrived almost 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the evening. And at the Atlanta airport, I met my another old friend who stayed in Sydney for several years. He's a minister, and he's a lecturer in the theological college. So he came to our arrival at the airport. But look, Atlanta airport, I think it's the largest airport in the world. So big. So when we get off the plane and get our luggages, and where we are moving to the what is it?
To get our bags.
Yeah. So
Carousel.
Baggage claim.
no. Report. Our entry report. We had to take a train. There are train lanes in the airport, so we took a train to get to the entry reporting place. And then so we're there at the Atlanta airport. We rented a car which we are going to drive up to Washington, New York, and up to Burlington, where there is a border with Canada. So that's the house we stayed for 2 nights. That belongs to the Korean church, so they call it the mission center. So we stayed there for 2 nights. So they're enjoying the new residence, new accommodation, Joshua and Rachel. And Joshua is showing his, what is it?
Sleeping bags.
Sleeping bag. Huh? Yeah. How come you have all the girls on your sleeping bags?
I'm not sure.
That's Christians.
That's Christians originally, is it? Yeah. So we had dinner, and the minister there in the Korean church, he invited us to the meal, and then we went to the coffee shop for the coffee and some dessert. So this is one of the dessert. What is it? It's
a shaved ice dessert.
Shaved ice.
So you can see there's ice cream on the top, and there's a red bean paste and some fruit around it.
And banana and all sorts of things underneath. Yeah. So that was really sumptuous, and kids enjoyed that very much. So this is the Korean congregation in Atlanta. So this is not a big church, but very good size, but people are really welcoming and very much loving. And actually, I was invited to preach on our first Sunday in America. So kids, they played their instruments. So that was kind of a second performance on our trip. And then I preached, and we took a photo together, and we had the lunch after the service. That's a really nice bibimbap. So we enjoyed our stay in Atlanta. We moved around some places, but mostly this lady on the last, she's another my sister. She is the number 5, and she was at Atlanta at that time. So we were able to meet her after many years separation, and we enjoyed that reunion with her. And then we depart from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. That's about 1,000 kilometers. But just imagine, well, I already felt extremely tired after flight from Seoul to Los Angeles and then to Atlanta. And then we didn't have enough time to rest. But I had to drive the car. And while all the people, in the car, they're enjoying their nap after nap and after nap, but I had to drive, but I kept feeling very sleepy. So I had to stop every 1 hour or 2 hours driving. Yeah, so they enjoyed sleeping in the car. Yeah. Then that's Joshua. Yeah. So that's the van we hired, and I think we traveled almost more than 2,000 k's with that van. And there are 6 of us and all the musical instruments in the van. And this is one of the break I had to have. And look at Joshua's soul.
Yeah, I think it was just, the traveling, we just didn't want to have like our shoes on or anything, so that's sort of what happened at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a proof that how much you have been busy. Okay, so we finally arrived at this accommodation in Washington, D.C. So this is our first private accommodation since we left. Right, so in that motel, they're also enjoying their stay. And then next day we went out to look around the whole city. But I discovered that Washington, D.C. is a really big place, especially, lots of museums, which are all free for entry. So that's great, opportunity for us to, to look all those, collections and, exhibitions. But we didn't have much time. We had only one day. So we took a train to the city, and then we went to the Lincoln Memorial and then Washington Monument. But we were not able to enter that place because there was an earthquake just before, so it is closed. And that is the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. And then there are many, huge buildings, mostly, museums or government buildings like that. And then we finally found a very, familiar place, White House, afar. So we came closer, and then we took a few photos. And this is against that Washington Monument. And I think this is another government building. And then that's the Capitol, American Parliament House. And then we enter the Union Station to have a lunch. And that station was very big. You remember? No?
Not really.
Well, yeah, in the basement, the whole lot of, takeaway, places and cafes and everything. And this is what? The Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Yeah. And that's the Pentagon. Yeah. So we went into Lincoln Memorial. And you all know that Martin Luther King's great words, "I have a dream." And that's Lincoln, President Lincoln, close up. And then inside there are some other memorial things of Lincoln. That's his big picture. And then we went to the National Art Gallery, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, even just for this art gallery, I think we should spend maybe 3 or 4 days just for this one place. But we didn't have time. So we had to finish in less than 2 hours. So we had to hurry up. So we found this Rodin's,
The Thinker.
The Thinker, and then all sorts of paintings.
Yeah, different sculptures as well, you can see.
And then we finished. And we had a break outside the building. And then we went into
The Smiths. No, that's
Smithsonian.
Smithsonian.
Well,
Natural
actually,
history.
there are about 8 different Smithsonian museums, but this is about
Natural history.
natural history. Yeah. So all those animals, the hippos and skeletons. And huge mouth.
The giant great white shark. It's behind
Great
us.
shark. Oh, wow. That must be a really big shark. Huh? And then we went out to have a break. And then we finished the Washington, D.C.